Hey everybody, it's Jamie Dawson with Tersus Talks, and here we are with Gerardo Serrano and Michael Walliser. They're business partners of mine, thank goodness, and really work with me on a lot of different business opportunities. Part of Tersus, part of Carolina Land Experts, part of the Dawson Group, all things from commercial real estate investing, and now we find ourselves in I guess IT and developing software for those industries, which is pretty amazing and awesome. This is the first episode of Tersus Talks, and hopefully there's going to be many more, and you'll see these guys some more and myself. And again, Gerardo Serrano, Michael Walliser, I'm Jamie Dawson. Today, it's almost the end of 2020. It's been a spectacular year, fantastic, fun. I've been traveling a lot. I've been going places, eating in a lot of restaurants and whatnot. Just joking. Just joking. Wish I had. That was my plan in January, but it never actually happened, and I'll let you decide why that was. But it is the end of a really strange year, and we're going to be rolling into 2021. And today what we wanted to do, just because we are ending 2020, is to talk about, hey, what's the real estate market going to look like in 2021? And wanted to bring these guys on to introduce themselves and talk about the real estate market and kind of the outlook of next year. Gerardo, I'll start with you and just let you introduce yourself real quick to everybody.
Cool, thanks. Glad to be doing this. Really excited about what we're doing. My background is mostly in startups and managing small businesses. And currently I work closely with our development team. Obviously work closely with Jamie and Michael, but Jamie and Michael have the expertise and the history in the industry to know what the pain points are and what the trends are. And then I exist kind of between that and the development team to bring products and platforms that answer those questions.
Awesome. And you do a heck of a good job at that as well.
Thank you,
Very happy to have you as a partner.
sir.
And Michael Walliser, how are you doing, man?
Hi, doing pretty well. Thank you for having me on here. A little bit about myself, 14 plus years in real estate. Longer than that in real estate investing. Had a focus kind of on the institutional side, and kind of found ourselves at the confluence of kind of property tech, which is a new thing, and we see a lot of innovations happening, and we see an industry that is has a lot of heavy incumbents and kind of ripe for disruption. So we're going to see what we can do.
Let's disrupt, shall we? I like it. And I'm Jamie Dawson, 20 years in real estate, residential, commercial, own a building company as well. One thing that I'm proud of is the ability to kind of bring people together and find people who have strengths that I don't have and that complement myself and people whom I can complement. And this is probably the best group of partners I've ever had. In fact, I'm sure of it. And I think we're very complementary to each other. And we bring big ideas to the table and all really work hard to execute those. So yeah, we do soup to nuts real estate and real estate investing and we're always here for you. I just want to start this by saying, look, we're always here for you. If you guys need anything at all or have questions or just want advice or whatever, there's going to be our contact information is on this video. And just feel free to comment on the video or give us a ring or shoot us an email, shoot us a text, whatever it is, and we'll be absolutely glad to help you out. So thanks. Now, let's get on to the point of this episode, and that is, hey, what's next year going to look like? Michael, I'll start with you. I know mortgage rates right now are at a historic low. You're kind of the numbers guy, man. You follow the numbers more than anybody that I've ever met in my life. What do you think is going to happen in 2021 with the mortgage rates and kind of where they're heading?
So we obviously had an economic slowdown during 2020. The Fed kind of reduced rates in order to try and compensate for some of that. I think in doing so, it was to try and get more money out into the economy. The sad thing is we saw a lot of that money get reinvested into the market. As such, we've seen really good gains, but I don't think that the end result that they were trying to have really occurred. We've seen a huge uptick in some property valuations because of it. Because if you look at monthly payments, they're staying pretty similar, while the value of what you can buy for that is going up. And we've seen people taking advantage of that, but it hasn't necessarily been getting more people into a home or saving homes for those people. So there is a chance that we'll see some minor upticks in mortgage rates. And for example, we're seeing some fees come across, due to the market. I believe there's a one-time 0.5% market fee or something like that that the FHA is releasing.
Yeah, that's pretty recent, right? I mean, that just happened like weeks ago.
Well, I was in the past like 3 days or 4 days or something.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see some pushback on those borrowing rates.
And that's a 0.5%. Just stop. Let me just ask this just to clarify. That's a that is called a distressed market. Is that right? Or
adverse market fee.
Adverse market fee that FHA backed loans is charging as a fee at closing to the buyer of 0.5%. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Wow, that could really add up.
Yeah, it can, especially when you take into account that the median home ownership is only over a period of like 5 years.
Yeah.
We're starting to see some pressure back on those interest rates, and there's a good chance that they may come back up. Hopefully, we'll see some pickup in employment in order to match some of those interest rate rises and be able to see some more people buying. As it is, we've had really low inventory. And so as we come out the other side of, the current pandemic, and we're starting to see more people feel comfortable with listing their homes, or there are, possible listing procedures in place that allow people to sell their home without having all the intrusion of people walking in and out and having to stage their home and then get out of it and everything else. We may see a little bit more supply there. And so that'll be a good thing. So hopefully we're headed for some more supply, possibly a little bit higher interest rates. I don't think that we'll be going back to 4% anytime soon. Which when we were at 4%, we said, oh well, I don't think we're going back to 4.5% anytime soon, and we did that, and then we went back to 2.5. So you never know.
You never know. That's right.
There's other countries with negative interest rates, and no one thinks the U.S. is headed there, but I don't know enough to speak on it.
There you go. Well, thank you, Michael. And Gerardo, I'll ask you this. I know that you're really big into technology. You lead our technology team at Tersus and with our company, and we are currently working on the iBuyer experience, right? How do we capitalize on that and bring something to the market that consumers are asking for, right?
Right.
What's your thought on where that is today and where that will be headed in the next 6-12 months?
I think today you're seeing a definite improvement in the technologies that make this happen. I think that fuel what you're talking about. I think that everyone wants the home buying process to be easier, and as wealth tends to or shifts from one generation to the next, and that generation being more comfortable with the iBuying experience across the spectrum, I think that you'll see that the changes that have been forced by the pandemic are going to go from something that's been mandated to something that people have been accustomed to something that will be preferred at the end of the day. And so, I think that, even I'm entering my sophomore year as a real estate agent. from the conversations that we've had, I know that the previous way of doing things kind of left this industry truly ripe for disruption. Mm-hmm. And so it seems like a lot of these changes have been a long time coming, these improvements. Mm-hmm. And so again, that's just kind of been forced by the pandemic. But again, I think that people will end up preferring that the method of iBuying. And so us being really open to those trends, and then also open to what that means for agents, because agents, aren't leaving the picture. Their expertise, their expertise in negotiations and contract management, that's not going away. But the process, it has changed, and I think will continue to change.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I've been in the business for, like I said, since the early aughts, and even the stuff that we've launched as a company that I'm an owner of, right, has been very difficult for me, Jamie Dawson, who knows how to use technology, who's recording this video blog right now, right, using technology. Still, to wrap my head around a new way of doing business that I've been so accustomed to has been tough. And so, as I think that as a consumer, it's a lot easier to wrap their head around, because that's how they're buying their groceries now. That's how they're, shopping for Christmas or doing, whatever it is they're doing. Like 90% of it's online. Well, I don't know if it's 90%, but a lot of it. Vacation rentals, all of that. Yeah, it's being done online, and it's making them accustomed to this. But what I'm seeing is a resistance to that on the professional real estate side. Is that what you guys are seeing as well? I mean,
yeah, I've seen it definitely a resistance to it, and I kind of like any new technology, it'll take some time for adoption. I think some time to build trust, some time to really see the ease of use, and then as a business owner, it's when everything you have is invested in your business. You're probably usually more risk averse. Yeah. Because it's your stuff on the line. Yep. But yeah, Mike, what do you think?
I would definitely agree. It's interesting. And Jamie, I know that we've had some conversations about people's ability to adapt. Yeah. And how well suited humans are for adapting to things. That's kind of what makes us.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here today if we didn't adapt, right? We would have been
every continent on the planet.
Yes, we would have been eaten by the bear.
Yeah. And so we're incredibly well suited to it. However, we are quite risk averse. We tend to resist that change, and I feel like there is something to be said for resisting change, because all change is not good, right? However, in some cases, when you look at the resistance might be based on some preconceived notions that certain things aren't available to be offered. And that is, if you look at what real estate was 20 years ago, when you had an MLS book and you looked at it and you said, okay, well, these are the properties that are in my client's price range. I'm going to go drive by these properties with my client, and I'm going to see if they like the neighborhood. And I know what MLS districts these areas are in, and therefore it gives me a general idea of what it is. And you have to write the directions into the MLS listing so that I know how to get my client in front of your house. And once I drive them by 8 houses, then I'm going to in turn decide which one of these 8 houses do I want to actually bring my client inside so they can see what it is. Because there's only one small thumbnail in the real estate book that I can't really give to my client unless I did a printout and a MapQuest document of this is what the front of that house looks like. Yeah. And we think that that's really absurd. However, most people operating in real estate today were alive when that was, they were purchasing their first homes when that was the case. If you look at the average age of people in real estate, that is the case. That's the system that they did their primary purchase under. And when we look at it today, we can do a complete 360 virtual walkthrough of a house, change the color of the walls, measure, see whether your couch fits, know what every single demographic is of the entire neighborhood. And that's on anything, anywhere, in any state, at any given time that we want.
And that's access of a professional quality, a high grade quality to those layouts and 3D layouts that you're talking about, that's accessible by anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be, you don't yourself have to be a professional. Any business owner can access.
Correct. And so we start to look at where our true value proposition is, and that is in the process itself. That is being able to talk to people and understand negotiations, knowing where the risk factors are, understanding what can go wrong in a transaction, what can go wrong with the house. Mm-hmm. Advising people of, hey, this house floods, advising people of, hey, this house might have EFIS, and these are the side effects that may come from it, and these are the future possibilities. And being that true advisor is something that real estate agents have a long history of, and that's where we prove our value. But that's where our value is today. It's not from driving someone in front of a house and saying this one is for sale. Someone already knows that house is for sale.
And quite frankly, and I hesitate to say this because I don't want to cut my nose to spite my face, but I have to, because I have to be honest, right? And that is, do we really do more to sell in terms of advertising and what do we do more to sell a $2 million house versus a $1 million house, or a $500,000 house versus a $1 million house? In the big picture, because let me tell you, 6% or 5% or 4% or whatever it is you charge, 1%.
Can I take this? Can I just interject the one thing? The whole 6%. I think we've also discussed, and we've seen in the news, and most agents that are paying attention have seen the DOJ's ruling on the 6% rule and what that is. And if you look at how long that's been around. What was the typical home price in Raleigh in 1985? $145,000 or something, maybe?
No, I was probably lower than that, but yeah.
Okay.
I can Google it real quick if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean it's probably worth having that information. And so you have to, I understand cost of living and everything else is going up, and I in no way want to say that agents don't bring value, because we all work very hard to do that every day. And
we're all three licensed real estate agents, and we do bring value.
Yes. We do bring value. As a licensed real estate agent, I promise you that I bring value. I work very hard to do that.
Yes.
But 6% of $140,000 is a whole lot different than the median price of $500,000 that a lot of people are selling today.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
It is.
And to still operate under that same rule kind of brings to light the DOJ's response to that, as to why they think that it shouldn't be appropriate for us to have that as an industry norm. And as our clients even know, all of us don't operate with that as a standard, but within the industry, there is some argument to be said for people advertising, hey, we're a discount broker because we only charge 4.5%. You're like, well, a discount from what? What is that?
Yeah. Well, that's right. Yeah. And that's what the DOJ is saying. It's like, well, how can you be a discount broker if it's not a set or standard fee?
Correct. Correct.
I got so I saw today, I got an email from the National Association of Realtors, and hi, if you're watching this, and sorry about what I'm about to say. And that is, they said something, and I just tried to pull it up, but I'm kind of new at recording this stuff, so I don't want to mess up what I got going on, right? And it said something, and you probably have it in your email. It said something to the effect of, we did a survey, and 90% of all real estate agents, or something, whatever, some percentage, most real estate agents and most people in the real estate industry think it's a bad idea for companies like Zillow to come into the real estate industry. Right? Now,
Yeah.
Why, like, let's say, the elephant in the room, right? Like, why would they say that? Well, because I think Zillow is listening to consumers and trying to fill a gap, right? Plus, I think Zillow's been at the forefront of trying to figure out what consumers want and try to play towards that. You agree? I mean,
I would agree.
they're a technology company,
the one
right?
major
Right.
downside,
Right.
the biggest downside I see with Zillow is the lack of representation, and that is what the NAR has been there for, is consumer protection.
Yeah.
I believe as an NAR member that the NAR's true intent and goal of protecting the consumer and understanding this is the largest transaction that they will probably ever undertake in their life. I think that goal has been, met, or at least, targeted and been achieved on more occasions than not. And I think that might lead to some of that skepticism over where, companies like Zillow might be, is because they're not in it. They're in it for the transaction, for the business of it, but they are not necessarily there for that consumer's best interest.
No, yeah, exactly. They are there. I will agree with that. They are certainly there for the business, the economics behind it, right? They're trying to find out where consumers are, so they can get to the consumer and sell it, and have that data and have their ear, and sell that that information essentially. Let's I think that all of this is for where is real estate going in 2021 and beyond, and as it pertains to the iBuyer experience. I mean, we just spoke about that longer than any other piece. I think is another episode, right? And let's think about who we can bring on to maybe ask some of these questions to, but besides us, right? So look for it. We'll have that episode coming on soon. I got a couple of more points here, and then we're gonna wrap it up. One is, hey, look, we are seeing continued migration out of the big cities, right? We're seeing a lot of people trying to get away from having to ride the metro and mass public transportation, and mainly because of the pandemic, of course. And we're seeing remote work become more of the norm. Is that do you think that will continue to happen in 2021? And what will that do? In a short reply, what will that do for maybe what's going on with the building industry, and how will maybe the building industry cater homes and with where they build and what they build and the product that they're building to that consumer. Gerardo, you want to take this?
Yeah, I can at least definitely take the first part. I think Michael might be better for the second, regarding building and materials, for sure. But I think that companies, by being forced to institute remote working, are figuring out that that their employees are, after some learning time, after a bit of a learning curve, can be productive at home, and so and are happy with remote working. And I think that the trend will continue that way, and for the company's benefit, they're realizing we don't need a massive headquarters anymore for 5,000 employees. 5,000 employees don't want to be here in the first place. I think that's definitely going to continue. I have no medical or science background, so I don't want to speak too much about potential benefits of vaccines or preventative health measures that can be taken. But I think that people are cautiously optimistic for 2021. Folks being able to return to some kind of semblance of normalcy. And so I think, but even that witstanding, I think people are liking working from home and the ability to work remotely. So, yeah.
Awesome. And as it pertains to what we're going to see in the building, on the building side, and with new homes being built, new product coming out of the ground, Michael, do you think we're going to see a difference in that?
as just the demand of what we want, I think there's inevitably going to be some change. Like you said, there's people that are migrating out of big cities, and that is obviously being said from a group of people who are living in a metropolitan statistical area that is rapidly growing, right? So
this guy,
construction happening right behind me. That crane is working. There are mid-rise buildings.
I thought that was your green screen.
Nope, that thing's real.
That's very real. Yeah, people are leaving except for where they're not. But I can't help but feel like there's always cyclical demand for like the home office, and even if you look at geographical areas of development, the home office has been something that over certain time periods has come in and out of demand. And I think that we might be headed into another cycle in which people do prefer to see that. And that inevitably comes with a little bit of square footage. However, we've seen such massive square footage increases over the past 2 decades that I think it may just come at the expense of some other, you look at some of the modern floor plans, especially over like 2,400 square feet, a lot of them have kind of these little off knick-knacky areas that you're like, I guess I could put a little office there for when I'm not in the office. And I think some of that's going to be converted into like, I actually need somewhere I can go that's quiet.
Yeah. I know we need that. Like, I'm working out of my home now. We converted a bedroom into my office. We converted another bedroom into the kids' school. So the kids' office, right? And and then my wife's just out of luck, but no, she uses this whenever she wants. Trust me. But yeah, I mean, I'm seeing that, and I'm actually hearing that from some of our clients, who are looking for office space and who are saying, hey, even whenever this pandemic, shakes out, like, what does this mean? And this is going to go down this could go down a rabbit hole if we let it, but I'm not going to let it. And that is, what happens to school whenever like it snows, right? Are we going to have snow days now, or are the kids going to be expected to work from home and not miss those days? I think this is really going to change how both the education system and both higher education and public schools look at working from home, and the technology behind it. Are they going to take all the Chromebooks back from the kids whom got them? I mean, so I think people are just they are more comfortable with the idea and the prospect of working from home. So, Google Fiber, is it in the neighborhood? People are looking for that. If you can have a gigabyte of data, running from AT&T or Google Fiber or whatever, like that's a big selling point today. Home office space, quiet places. I mean, really quiet places, like
a place for the kids to play outside.
Yeah, a place for the kids to play.
They're not
outside.
going places. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of that. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Aspire Homes, which is our building company, is building a new house right now, and we're designing it. We're working with a couple of architects, and my big thing, I'm like, it's got to have an office, and it also needs to have an office nook for kids to work too. Not only just an office for the adult, like a standalone office space, but another place so either someone else or a child can work during the day as well. So, and I think that's important, so we're throwing it in there. We'll see if it sells. If it sells quickly, hey, I know I was right. So that's the.
Well, I have clients that I'm working with right now that having office nook and an office somewhere to get away to was a big signifying decision. It was a significant part of their decision in going with the house that they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're seeing it. The demand is there.
Well, on that, guys, it has been awesome. Any last parting words from either one of you? So it's got to be epic, though.
It's got to be epic.
If not, just keep your mouth shut. I don't know.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wash your hands.
Get the vaccine whenever it comes out. So I've got Gerardo Serrano here. I got Michael Walliser here. I'm Jamie Dawson. This has been the first episode of Tersus Talks, and thank you so much for joining. Again, we're here for you. If you got questions, comments, smart remarks, anything, throw them our way. Shoot us an email. And let us know also what you want to hear about. We'll be bringing another guest on the show. We've got a really good slate coming up. We'll let you know, keep you informed on that. Thanks for joining in, and we'll see you soon. See you guys.